Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Jeff Grammer with the Albuquerque Journal, and this is episode 100 now of the Talking Grammar podcast. I am in Cleveland, Ohio, where tomorrow the UNM Lobos, as the 10 seed, will be taking on number 7 Marquette in the first round of the South region. Talked to Richard Pitino, Shaka Smart, a bunch of the players today. Got a bunch of sound for that I'm going to put together for this podcast. Talked to Jon Rothstein as well. He's going to share his thoughts on the tournament. This episode, don't have a guest as usual per se, but I have a whole bunch of sound from people around the tournament, a lot of the press conferences that went on today, just kind of setting up tomorrow's game and the second consecutive year that the Lobos have been in the NCAA tournament after that decade-long drought that Richard Pitino has helped pull them out of. So hope you enjoy this episode. As always, if you can, support local journalism. abqjournal.com/subscribe is how you can subscribe to our digital product or our print product. All right, hope you guys enjoy this episode.
Now to the 7-10 matchup in Cleveland. We have Marquette. Shaka Smart's team is the 7 seed, and they will face the New Mexico Lobos, led by Mountain West Player of the Year, Donovan Dent, helping Richard Pitino earn Conference Coach of the Year.
I told the team afterwards, do not take this for granted. Only 19% of college basketball gets to play in this tournament, and it's special. We set 2 goals at the beginning of the year. One was to win the Mountain West regular season. We did that. And 2 was to make the NCAA tournament. Obviously, we did that as well. So very appreciative of all the support that we get, fans, administration, boosters, collective, all those people that have helped us along the way. It's been a special year. To go 17-3 in a league that got 4 bids was amazing. So we've got, I believe, 6 guys, I think, returned, I don't know the exact number, who experienced this last year, and it's a lot of fun. And so we're very, very excited. Head out to Cleveland, I think, on Wednesday, and it'd be a great experience for our guys. I mean, it's an amazing feeling. I mean, I tell the team this all the time, and this is not to crap on Dave Pilipovich. Dave Pilipovich is a great coach, a great guy. You wrote the article. He's been coaching for 38 years. This is his second NCAA tournament. It is not easy to get here, so you cannot take it for granted. And, our players and coaching staff's done a phenomenal job. So we felt really, really good. There wasn't a whole lot of doubt that we would be in. It was more about who we'd be playing.
I'm not trying to find a way to bring up your dad, but he has played him 3 times. Do you reach out to their staff and ask for any kind of cliff notes or anything?
Yeah, I mean, he texted me right when it happened, like the scouting report. I'm like, relax, I don't need that right now. I'm not a big, certainly I'll talk to him and his, my staff will talk to his staff, but you have so much film now. When people call me, I'm always like, do you not have, film? Why are you asking me? But sometimes it's nice to kind of get a feel and some calls and things like that, but we've got so many things at our disposal to where, I'll put together a game plan just by watching them.
All right, John. Let's start off with you. You saw this Lobo team a year ago, and they lost to Clemson.
Yeah.
Not a great showing. A year later, they're back. What's the difference between these 2 teams?
Player retention, I think, has been really big for New Mexico, keeping guys in the program. Mustafa Amzil, Donovan Dent, Nelly Junior Joseph, True Washington were all in the Lobos program last year when they lost to Clemson. Retention in this climate is huge.
2 players a lot of people are talking about, Cam Jones, Donovan Dent. They probably won't match up much against each other, but talk about the marquee players that those 2 guys are.
Yeah, I'm really happy that I'm here for this game because of that, kind of matchup in the backcourt, even if they're not identically going against each other. Donovan Dent, I voted as an honorable mention All-American. I think he is that good. He had that type of season. And Cam Jones has really been a magician with the basketball this year, stepping in for Tyler Kolek. So 2 of the top 10 guards in college basketball will be playing on the court Friday in Cleveland.
All right, John, I appreciate you, man.
Thanks, Jeff.
All right, welcome back. Thank you for your continued coverage of the NCAA Tournament. We're joined now by the student athletes from New Mexico, the number 10 seed in the South region.
Jeff Grammer, Albuquerque Journal. I'm going to start with Nelly and Donnie. You guys were just here last year. Nelly, you've been to a couple other ones of these with Iona. Just the basic stuff. What's different about this time? What did you guys maybe take from last year that you learned from?
I think the big thing we took from last year is we're not here just to be here. Like, we know we're a good team. Last year we were more excited just to be here, and we got blown out in the first round. So that's not what we want this year for sure.
Donnie, similar kind of matchup question. Stevie Mitchell's probably going to be guarding you. What do you see in him as a defender, and does he remind you of anybody that has defended you so far this season?
Not someone that defended me this season, but he reminds me a lot of a former teammate, House. He's really a pest on the ball, just hustling around the court. So I've got a good image of it for the last 2 years playing with House in practice. So I'm excited for the matchup.
Lee Faria, NBC affiliate in Albuquerque. CJ, when you look at this matchup, when you talked about the defensive end, what do you have to do to impact the game both offensively and defensively to make sure that it comes out the way you want it?
We just want to slow them down. I mean, they're a pretty fast-paced team, as we are too. Offensively, we would like to play fast like we've been doing all year, for sure. Keep up the pace in the game, for sure.
To the right side here.
Nelly, I know Coach said he wasn't really going to take the scouting report from St. John's, but St. John's did play them 3 times, and Zuby had a lot of success inside. I'm curious how much you have watched any of that St. John's film, and if you see anything that maybe exposes them inside that you might be able to find some success with.
I feel like I just have to be able to talk in whenever they pass the ball to me. I just gotta finish every time and play hard, and because they're gonna be physical as fuck. So I gotta be ready for that.
Yeah, we think on the defense side, they remind us a little bit of San Diego State. They run a lot of switching, run through 5, and we just kind of have to attack one-on-one to really we're going to get the matchup we want, the mismatch. So they remind us a lot of San Diego State on the defense side of the ball.
All right, welcome back. We're pleased now to be joined by Richard Pitino, head coach of the New Mexico Lobos. Coach, thanks for joining us. You want to start us out with an opening statement, please?
Yeah, certainly very, very honored and proud of our program to be back in this amazing tournament. Phenomenal year for our guys. To lose kind of the pieces that we lost, to be able to rebuild like everybody's doing is certainly hard and challenging, but really, really excited about this opportunity.
Let's go to questions. Third row on the right, Coach.
Jeff Grammer, Albuquerque Journal. A lot has sort of already been talked about the 2 great point guards, both getting some All-America honors between Cam and Donnie, but I don't imagine they're actually going to be defending each other very much. Is it safe to say True will probably have a lot of the defensive assignment on Cam, and are you expecting Stevie to have a lot of the defensive assignment on Donnie?
Yes and yes. Good scouting report there, Jeff. Yeah, I mean, I think obviously Stevie's a phenomenal defender, one of the best in the country. So I would assume that. And then, we'll give different looks on Cam, who is certainly a terrific player as well.
Donnie described Stevie as reminding him a little bit of Jalen House. Do you see some similarities in the defensive style there?
Yeah, really physical, probably a little bit more physical than Jalen, but aggressive on the ball. I think reminds me a little bit of some of those San Diego State guards, physicality-wise. But yeah, they play on the perimeter a lot offensively, so you may think that they're not as physical as they are, but it'll be one of the most physical teams we've played all year.
It's a little bit different than what we were just talking about. They're talking about expanding the tournament. Is it going to help the Power Fours, or will it help more the mid-majors? I know you guys had a lot of success this year getting 4 teams in. If it goes to that 76 like they're talking, where do you think it's going to help the Power Fours?
Great question. I think everything is geared to help the Power Fours right now. And that's just, the system is what it is. I'm not saying, I don't look at us like a mid-major. I understand the term, but we get 15,000 a game. There's not a whole lot of difference between our resources and when I was at Minnesota. Now, just the metrics and the way that they're breaking down at large bids, it's going to be more and more difficult. You look at the SEC, and not to say they're not really good, certainly they are, but every game is a quad 1 opportunity. So it kind of is what it is. I'm not as offended by expanding as everybody else is. I don't think it's going to really substantially change a whole lot. I mean, we're in a profession right now. I'm a coach who's been fired for not going to the tournament enough. You've got football, about 60% of teams are going to bowl games, and, coaches are keeping their jobs and players are not having to turn over all the time. I don't see why it's so bad to have a little bit more in there. So I don't think it would ruin the tournament by any means. I think it's going to happen, but I think everything right now is geared towards Power Four.
The Associated Press, what's it been like having a player like Nelly who started with your dad at Iona and then transferred to you? Is he kind of an honorary family member now with all 5 years? And then also in terms of family rooting interest, how good is it that St. John's is on that Thursday, Saturday, and you guys are on Friday, Sunday?
Yeah, Nelly, there's been many times this year where he's jokingly said to me, I'm not going to get yelled at by another Pitino again. It's been 5 years at U2. I'm sick of you guys. But yeah, honorary family member would be a good call. I mean, love him. He's certainly had a great year. But just as a person, he's one of my favorites. He's so loyal. He's easy to be around. And he's a really good player. As for the game schedule, yeah, it's great. I mean, we've had a lot of games that have been around the same time because of the Big East, TV contract to do with CBS and Fox Sports as well. So when I'm able to watch, it's a lot of fun. So their game tonight's a little late. Don't really love that, but certainly when I have the opportunity, pulling for St. John's in a big way.
Stay on the left side, Coach, in the fourth row.
Coach Luke Taylor, Full Court Network. How is you and your staff balancing still competing in the tournament and then dealing with all the other stuff like NIL, transfer portal going on kind of at the same time?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not dealing with transfer portal stuff much now. I think they've got their, ears and eyes open for sure. We've started conversations with, our players because, hopefully we win and we're continuing to play. But the portal opens Monday, which is absolute insanity. But there's going to be a lot of volatility, coaching changes, players, everything is going to go on. So we've started the conversations with our roster about staying and being able to figure all that out. So it's not ideal. I mean, we could sit here for hours and talk about how crazy the system is right now, but we certainly got to do our job with retaining the key pieces in this locker room.
Marquette's last game was obviously a film you looked at like all of them, but Zuby had a lot of success inside. Is there something you see that you can either mimic or just that Nelly would do anyway, where you think you can have some success inside with Nelly?
I mean, they switch a lot of stuff. Again, for us Mountain West people, there's some similarities to San Diego State in the way that they guard. So, if they do switch, Nelly's got to be willing and able, obviously, to dive into the post. Nelly and Zuby's a relentless rebounder, offensive rebounder especially. But Nelly and him are somewhat similar. So, I think when you're watching that last game in the Garden there, I think hopefully Nelly can see some advantages there. But they also do a great job of whether it's trapping or slapping down as well.
Colin Beasley, Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. Coach, how do you handle those conversations with your players about next season staying, all that sort of thing, when your own name has been floated in various openings nationally?
Yeah, I tell them all the time that my whole goal to them every single year is for them to increase their value in this free agent world. Now, coaches are not free agents like they are. We have buyouts and things like that, but when you have a great year in today's world as a player, people are going to talk about you as transfers. People are going to reach out. Maybe they don't directly reach out to the kid. They have ways to reach out. Call their college or their high school coach, AAU coach. Hey, float something out there. It's no different than coaches. When you win, you're going to be written about. You're going to get phone calls. It doesn't mean you want to leave. It doesn't mean that my players want to leave, but there's going to be opportunities. And the biggest thing I always tell them is just continue to increase your value. And when the time is right, we'll talk about why we feel like staying in New Mexico is the right thing for you. And it's the same thing with me. If a school calls, it doesn't mean I'm looking to leave. I truly appreciate my situation in New Mexico. We've won 52 games in the last 2 years. A lot of that has to do with the support that I've gotten, and I greatly appreciate it.
Coach, your biggest fan is sitting right over there. I'm just curious who he picked in his pool, in his bracket.
I don't know, Jack. We sent it to Jeff. Who'd you pick to win it all, Jack? St. John's, there you go. You see where his loyalty lies. New Mexico is not going to be happy with you.
Coach, a player-specific question. Obviously, Donnie and Nelly both got a lot of attention nationally, being top in the Mountain West. But True Washington was also very important for you guys this year, and an honorable mention. Just talk about the impact that you see him having on this game against Marquette.
Yeah, he's. I think he might have scored double digits in the last game, but we were undefeated when, it was like 17, 18-0 or something like that. But when he scored, but I think he was starting to realize that and wanted to score too much. Or let the game come to you. But yeah, defensively, when you lose a guy like Jalen House, who was just an on-the-ball menace, True's kind of taken up for that. But we need, and all of our guys know this, it can't just be Nelly and Donnie. It's got to be other guys stepping up. And True's had some great moments there. And the growth it's really fun to see, and I think he's a guy, if he comes back, like all of them, who knows, he could really make a big jump.
Left side, third row, please.
Joe Rady, Associated Press. Coach, when other schools come to you about openings and everything, how much more do you study things maybe based on the Minnesota experience, but also with NIL and everything? How much do you have to dig and investigate, maybe comparing to where you're at right now?
You used to have a true understanding of every league and where the jobs would rank. That's all going to change substantially. It's all about investment now. I know April 7th, everybody thinks that there'll be some more rules and it might level off a little bit. I don't know. But it's not as much about practice facilities anymore. It's not about everybody's chartering. Everybody has all those things. Do I think that NIL and rev share is everything? No, I don't. But if you do not have it, you have no chance. It's been great at New Mexico to, work together with them to continue to get them to understand kind of the return on the investment. These players, they're the reason why we sell out the pit. They're a reason why you're getting almost 10,000 in Thomas and Mack for the Mountain West tournament. I think the balance of power has greatly shifted. And those conversations any coach has with any AD or whatever, that's going to be the first thing is, what's the investment looking like? And what will it be down the road? Because this landscape is crazy. Coaches are still getting fired for not winning enough games. So as a coach, you got to be at a place you can win, and certainly New Mexico is that.
All right, welcome back to the interview room here at Rocket Arena. We appreciate your coverage of the opening rounds of the NCAA Tournament. We're pleased not to be joined by the Marquette Golden Eagles, the number 7 seed in the South region.
Ben Steele, Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel. Stevie, I'm sure you've seen a lot of film of Donovan Dent over the last couple of days. What stood out to you, or what have the coaches told you about the best ways to slow him down?
I think, obviously the biggest thing that just stood out is how he's a really good player. You can see that on film. You can see that by the stats. So, we're just excited for the challenge, that we have in front of us to guard him with 5 guys, whoever, gets switched on to him, whoever starts on him. And, it's just an exciting challenge we're preparing for, watching film, and, have prepared for all year going against good players as well.
Third row.
Kaylin Wright, Marquette Wire. Stevie, New Mexico plays at a pretty fast pace. So I guess how do you think the way that you guys play defensively can kind of counteract them in transition?
I think, defense transition has been an emphasis for us all year. So I think we had a lot of good practice for it going against, teams like Xavier who like to push the ball, and, other teams we played throughout the year that get the ball up the court. But obviously they're unique to them, New Mexico, so they got different players, they got different personnel. So we're just trying our best to learn that. But I think we don't mind. I always thought we played pretty fast. I saw heard some saying that them playing fast will throw us off. So I'm just excited for the challenge that it will provide.
All right, we will continue here with the Marquette Golden Eagles. We are joined by head coach Shaka Smart. Coach, you want to start us out with an opening statement?
Absolutely. It's terrific to be in Cleveland. Spent 3 years of my life in Northeast Ohio. I love this area. But more importantly, I'm really excited to be here with our guys, our team. We've had, a heck of a journey so far to this point. And, all the experiences we've had, I tell our guys all the time, you got those experiences in your pocket. So now's the time to pull them out and use them and come together to be our best. New Mexico is a terrific team. Known Richard Pitino a long, long time. He actually replaced me as an assistant coach at Florida when I left to go to VCU. He's done a heck of a job. Terrific team, terrific season, conference champions. So it'll be a great game tomorrow night.
All the way in the back, Coach, in the middle.
Jeff Grammer, Albuquerque Journal. Coach,
Yes, sir.
A lot's already been talked about, and forgive me if you've already talked about this. I came in after you started, but the Cam and Donnie matchup, but I don't imagine they're actually going to be defending each other very often.
Yes.
Can you talk a little bit about what Stevie brings defensively? I imagine he will get a lot of the Donovan Dent matchup, and then also True Washington on New Mexico is probably going to be doing a lot of the defense on Cam. Can you talk about those two matchups?
No, and I appreciate you bringing that up because I was just talking to the radio guys about this. A lot of times, we tend to oversimplify. And, fans kind of go by what they hear from the media. But in reality, that's not a two-man matchup. That's a four-man matchup because you're exactly right. True Washington, terrific defender, does a great job with his hands. You can tell that he's been well-schooled, and he's very, very aggressive with that. And then Stevie Mitchell for us is always our guy that we put on an elite guard like Donovan Dent. So that matchup will involve all four of those guys, plus their teammates, because when you're out there on the court, there's 10 total guys, and the help defense and the pick and roll coverages and those sorts of things really, really matter too. But Dent's a heck of a player. I told the guys, when we first started introducing New Mexico, understand this, he averages more points per game than Cam and more assists per game. In a league that's comparable. We got 5 teams in the NCAA tournament. The Mountain West got 4. So it's a heck of a challenge, and there's a lot that goes into making Dent good. I think Nelly Joseph is a big domino for Dent and the rest of the team. Dent's obviously unquestionably the best player, but Nelly Joseph, man, I mean, the motor with which he plays and the way that he impacts the game on both ends of the floor is incredible.
All right, there you go. That's episode 100 of the Talking Grammar podcast. Glad you guys are watching, listening, however you're consuming this podcast. I appreciate it. If you guys can support local journalism, go to abqjournal.com/subscribe. You can help us out to cover all these events on the road. We are the only local media outlet that does cover the Lobos on the road in the entire season and devote the resources to that. So hopefully you guys can help out. Hope you can follow all our coverage all week long at abqjournal.com/sports. And until next time, thanks for watching.